What's up everybody? Today I'm going to tell you how to frontside 180, but this time in first person. So pretty much the only trick you need to know for this is the ollie. And another thing, it's not really a trick, but just knowing how to right away switch. So I recommend doing like kick turns off the nose in the direction that a frontside 180 would be. So you're rolling forward, off the nose, turn. Because basically you're doing that same motion in the frontside 180. Alright, so I'm going to switch it to both views right now, so you should be able to see if you're goofy. So common mistake number one is actually not being able to roll away switch when trying this trick. I see this happen a lot. That's actually one of the reasons why I recommend learning how to kick turn off the nose. Because what happens most of the time when people are trying the frontside 180 or honestly any 180 trick is that they try to pivot off the tail, which won't work on keeping you to roll switch. I'll do an example here. If I try to pivot off the tail, like I kind of get stopped like that, right? So the key is you want to be able to pivot or like kind of turn off the nose as you're doing this. It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly pivoting or anything, but you just want to have this general sense of turning, of like using your front foot as the guiding foot while your back foot follows, because that's what's going to help you roll away switch. So just keep that in mind. It's nothing really like crazy you have to try to do. You don't have to do any crazy pivot. Just try to like get your front foot to land first as you're going down. You can exaggerate when starting off like this. Right, see how I landed with my front truck first? Basically, as you're turning, just make sure your front foot goes down first as you're doing this. So watch my front foot as I do a 180. It's kind of bad, but you see, like, you heard two clacks as I went down. So front foot right here, right? I'm gonna land on this one first. Just watch again. See, it makes two noises. And also just covering it again. You don't have to do it as drastic as that. It's just the same motion. So I'm gonna try to land with like both feet at the same time. Like you can do that, but generally you want to be heavy on this front foot so you can actually turn and keep that momentum. If you see me, if I like keep going forward and I try to pivot off my back truck, watch what happens. I either stop or to go in the other direction. Also, another way to keep rolling away switch, make sure you're not scooting your back foot only. Like think of your back foot as going up and over as you do this, rather than just doing a scoop like this, right? That's actually like a lot harder. So look at my back foot only this time. I'm gonna go up and over as I do this. So pop up and go over. Like act like your back foot has to literally jump over something. All right, so common mistake number two is not being able to turn enough. So maybe you're trying the 180, but you're only getting a 90 or a little less than that. So maybe you're turning, you're going like this, like, and you get stopped like that. The reason this may be happening is you might be only using your waist and hips to turn, but the really main important thing to do is make sure you use your shoulders. That is what's gonna actually make you turn over, and it's gonna make your waist and hips follow over as you turn. And you also want to be throwing your head into the direction that you're turning to. So I don't know if you can see this through the first person cam, but as you see I do the 180, I'm going to wind my shoulders up and just turn my shoulders and my head. And that's how I'm able to actually, you know, get the full 180 rotation. If you're not getting the full rotation, it's just because you're not turning it enough, and maybe you're not using your shoulders into it as much as you should. Also, if you feel like, you know, you are turning enough, but maybe the board is just magically not turning with you, one thing you can do is kind of like overcompensate. So like maybe really try like you're doing a 270 or 360, like just turn your shoulders that much, and you might trick yourself into knowing like you have to throw your shoulders more into it. So maybe like really just wind up backwards and just throw your shoulders into it so you can get that full rotation. So again, the stressor is just really know that your shoulders and head are the biggest part of this trick. If I just turn like my waist only, sometimes I can get stopped like this. Like I can kind of hold it, but this just feels really uncomfortable. So really make sure you keep the momentum going with your shoulders and your head. Okay, so last common mistake is, you know, sometimes the board may not stick to your feet or may fly away from you as you're doing the 180. So let's say maybe you're trying to do a 180 and it goes kind of like behind you, like you're jumping in front of it. Maybe you're going too far behind it like this, like you can't really jump on it. So the key for this is really just to try to act like your feet are glued to the board. Don't try to separate it too much. It's almost the same as doing an ollie, but you're just turning your shoulders in the process. Your feet really aren't involved in this, besides maybe like scooping it a little bit, but it's really just doing an ollie while turning your shoulders. So if the board is going behind you, it might be your foot position actually. Maybe you have your feet or like toes hanging off too much, and you're trying to 180 and you're going too far in front of it. Try to scoot your toes back more so that your feet are more over the board and not really, hanging over. It's just kind of on the board. That can help. The other one, your toes maybe pulled too far back if you're kind of landing on the board like this. And for that one, just vice versa, scoot your toes up so that they're more over the board, so that it's not, going behind you or in front of you. Just really play with your foot position and see which one works best for just keeping your feet over the board. And again, really just think of it as an ollie, but you're just turning your shoulders. Also, if it's not like really just with your foot position, so again, if it's like you're kind of going over it, landing like this, or landing on it like this, maybe change your posture. So if you end up like leaning like this more, maybe try to lean behind your heels more so that you stay over it. If you're leaning like this where your toes are kind of catching it, maybe lean over your toes more so you can stay more over the board. So it's really just kind of like posture, making sure you're turning your shoulders, and then just doing an ollie while you're turning. So that should cover most of the main tips. Now I'm going to show some slow motion clips so you can really analyze this trick. So that should wrap it up for the frontside 180. Really the main tips, just making sure that you turn your shoulders a lot in this trick, and then make sure you kind of pivot off the front truck or just put a lot of weight over your front foot as you're doing this trick. If you want to see my tutorial with more angles, make sure you check out my Why You Can't Frontside 180 video. Otherwise than that, if you have any more questions, leave it down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.